Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday night's Aquarium Anonymous, Aquariums Anonymous meeting. My name is Adam. I'll be your host, and I'm addicted to aquariums. A little bit unprepared. I've been chatting away to tonight's guest, who is an OG amongst us, as Gil from Gil's Fishing likes to put it, the man, the myth, the legend. He's joining us tonight. He's not only freshwater, he's not only into aquascaping and breeding, he's also into saltwater and reefing. He's a man of many talents. Let's get him on to say g'day. How are you, mate? Why don't you introduce yourself?
G'day, everybody. I'm Praddy, and I'm an aquarium addict.
I didn't have to prompt you for that, did I?
No.
Let me turn some volume up. Now, Praddy, thanks very much for coming on tonight.
It's all right.
We've got three of your tanks, a couple that from the past and one from the present to go through, freshwater and saltwater. And we've got some footage from your days of young underneath the water doing some scuba diving and some, I don't think we've got any spearfishing, but anyway, scuba diving. And
yeah.
And you've also been very generously enough to offer a bit of a giveaway tonight. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
All right. So I've got way too much corals in my tank. And so I've cut up a bit of it and I'm offering it as a giveaway for tonight. So, yeah, if anyone wants to have a piece of this rainbow micromusa.
Oh, you said it. You said it. How are we going to do the giveaway?
I'll come up with something real quick.
We had a whole plan. All right. We had a whole plan, mate, and you've gone and ruined it. That's okay. So
well,
go, mate.
Go ahead. No.
For those out there, you've got two frags, I think, to give away, and you're okay to post them out to people, are you?
Yes, yeah. I'm fine to do that. Yeah, I've got all the bits and pieces to post out frags. So
very generous. So I think the idea is that if we want to get you guys out there and girls to answer a very basic question, and if you get your question correct, so pop the answer or your answer down in the comments below, and then towards the end of the live stream, these things can go on a long time, so we won't drag it all out to the 4-hour mark, will we, Praddy? But maybe about halfway through, we might. Praddy, you've got a spinning wheel of karaoke night, bingo night app on your phone.
I do. I've got it on my phone.
We can pop all the names of the correct answers into that, and then we can pick out two people to win. So do you want to ask the question, Praddy, or do you want me to?
Go ahead, Adam. I'd appreciate it if you did it.
All right. So we're going to shove the picture up. So for those guys and girls out there that want to know or want to potentially win one of these two corals, we would like to know what is the current scientific name of this coral and the previous scientific name of this coral. Obviously, scientific names have a genus and species, and it had a name change. How long ago was it, Praddy, the name change, mate? About 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think it's probably about 5 years ago now. Yeah. I've only just gotten used to saying it now too.
Yeah. So we'll give a little hint. The species is linked a little bit in its name to a very popular and iconic island off the coast of New South Wales. But we want the past scientific name and the current scientific name. All right, go for it. Gil says, Gil reckons that he knows the answer, but he's going to let someone else. And I didn't say good day, mate, to everyone that's in the chat. There's a lot in the chat. Who have we got? Oh, we got Ravencore, mate. Praddy and I were talking Craig and I were talking a little bit about getting you on the stream, weren't we, Pratty?
We were. Actually, it'd be very interesting to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, we thought that maybe you could take your phone on with the stream active, because it's about 9 or 10 o'clock over there, and you could do us a live tour through an aquarium store, both freshwater and saltwater, if there's one over there. I believe there's lots of, they do them in garden centres, I think, over there. And the aquarium is linked to the garden centre. There was a name of the garden centre, which I can't quite remember. But I reckon it'd be fascinating to have a look inside an aquarium store from the other side of the world. So we're going to hit you up for that, mate. We've got Roomy. How you going, buddy? Ross Dingle.
Roomy.
Of course, we've got Gil. We've got the Ginger Ninja Quaid. And we've got Ursace. Ursace is the name. That's the family of bears, isn't it, Pratty?
How do you spell it? I'm just looking at. No, Ursace. It could be. I believe it's spelled with a U though. Ursaring.
Maybe it's like mink or mongoose or something. We've got a oh, look at this. Hi Adam, can you please do Pratty's saltwater tank first, because I go to bed early, from the Bearded Reefer. Well,
the Bearded Reefer. Well, that's the only one I'm going to be doing showing in person tonight, mate. I've had a bit of a disaster with my freshwater systems in the room.
So which way do you want to run them, mate? Do you want to take Ursace is a Lake Tanganyika goby cichlid.
Oh. I've never kept Africans, so that'd be yeah, it's I don't know any of them really, other than maybe like Frontosa. I don't think they're African, aren't they?
Yeah, they're Tanganyikan. Yep. All right. So which way you want to run, mate? We've got 2 freshwater tanks to go through, but let's get your backstory first. So the Bearded Reefer is going to have to wait for a little bit. And by the way, the Bearded Reefer, we've got a little bit of a shout out, which might interest you a little bit later on, so don't go to bed too early. But Pratty, talk us through where you got started in life and how you got started. Not too long. We don't want to bore the audience.
Yeah.
And how you got stuck into aquarium land. Go.
Well, I grew up in a little country town on the mid-north coast of New South Wales, not too far from where Adam lives. It's a place called Southwest Rocks. So I grew up on the beach, snorkeling every day, during the summer, swimming in the creeks, catching little fish. It was a great little childhood, really. Had a great time out there. I remember on my first tank, it was just a little goldfish tank. It was one of those little round things. This is back in the early 90s. Little blackmore goldfish. That's what I first had. So that's how it started. But by the time I was in my teens, I was out catching turtles and fish, and just putting them into any tank that I could.
Yep.
But I didn't.
Sorry. Go. I was going to say.
I didn't try keeping anything like really other than like natives up until my late teens. I worked at an aquarium store, and I really started loving rainbow fish.
But that wasn't in Southwest Rocks, was it?
No.
So I'm gonna bring up something from Southwest Rocks beforehand.
Yeah, sure.
before you jump too far, can you see that screen share there, Pratty?
Yeah.
Yep. So, mate, when you're in Southwest Rocks, you spent plenty of time underwater as well.
I did. This is out at a place called Fish Rock. This is probably about 14, 15 years ago. Unfortunately, this is before GoPros came out, so this is the video quality is not very good. But this is all these fish are just swimming into the current that's ripping past these rocks here, and I'm just holding on for dear life there.
And what people don't always realise, that you had chromis there, and you had fusiliers there.
Yeah.
Now the chromis weren't blue-green chromis, but regardless.
Now this video here is at also out at Fish Rock. This is I used to be a dive master out there, and we'd go swimming with these things every day. Now this is a grey nurse shark. I believe it's a female. And those there, they're related to the soldier fish. I'm not exactly sure what their name is anymore.
I think they're bullseyes, aren't they?
That could be it.
Yeah.
There's literally millions of fish out there. It's just unbelievable the amount that you get out there. But these sharks here, the grey nurse, they're critically endangered. Even though you see a lot of them out here, throughout the rest of the world, their numbers are just really, really falling. Yeah.
So these guys are found. I always thought these guys are an Australian endemic, but they're not. They're found.
No, they're found worldwide.
Yeah, right.
They call them different names in different countries. In America, they call them the sand tiger.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun to swim with, though. In fact, in this video, one of them bumped the camera. You showed it just before.
So you never had any scary experiences with them?
I've had a few. They're pretty docile until they're not.
Yeah.
I've had one particular encounter with one of them where you could just see it was watching me, and it swam past, and then swam past again, and then each time it would get closer and closer until it came right at me, and it opened its mouth, and I just had to push it away, and then it took off like a lightning bolt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Has it been? So you were a dive instructor at Southwest Rocks for Fish Rocks?
Yes, that's right. I was a dive instructor. I was certified with PADI.
Yep.
And this is all through Southwest Rocks Dive Centre. And we'd go out and we'd do 2 dives a day at Fish Rocks.
Yeah. Now, at some stage, you decided that it was too small a lonely town for a certain Nick Pratt to stay in Southwest Rocks, and you decided to go off and live down in Victoria, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
What made you do that crazy thing?
A woman.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a woman that made me do it. I'm glad I did. I love it down here, but I'd be definitely move back north if I could.
Yeah. Fair call. All right. Just quickly, Quade, what do you mean by that? Answer to question, can we answer? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Quade also says about the ragged tooth shark being called in South Africa. They migrate to protea banks and Aliwal shoal to pup. They can be very calm, but don't block them from the exit.
Yes, they are. The ragged tooth shark. Actually, I've got like a little jar of their teeth that I've still got that I used to collect from out there. They're hook shaped. They're very interesting.
Okay. Yes, Quade, you can answer the question in the comments. Start answering. Go. First two people to answer correctly. First shark I saw was a raggy on Aliwal Shoal at the cathedral. I don't know much about the cathedral. I have heard about Aliwal Shoal from Reef Therapy. All right. Mate, let's get into some aquarium talk, shall we?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that we should pander to the bearded reefer's request and check out your reef tank first? Or should we mix it up with a freshwater and then a saltwater and then a freshwater?
Yeah. Do you want to do that? Yeah, that second option I think works, and it's not that late, Gary. You can hang around.
Man, the man falls asleep at the drop of a hat. He's probably been on the bloody lounge snoring all afternoon, so I'm sure he's got some sort of. All right, let's have a little look. I've got the video of what I think is a pretty spectacular tank, which is your angelfish tank.
Yeah.
I'll start playing the video. And what I love about you, by the way, is the fact that you're interested in everything that's to do with fish, not just saltwater, not just freshwater. You're everything about it. You're not biased. Let's put it that way.
No.
Let's add this.
I love everything about the hobby. It's great.
So, what are we looking at, mate? Let's have it. I'll pause it. You tell us. This is a beautiful tank. What's the tank dimensions? How's it running? And then we can get into the plants and the fish.
Yeah. All right. So what you're looking at, that's a 6-foot tank. It's 2.5 foot deep and 2.5 foot from front to back. So it's about 150 gallons or about 500 liters. It's a dirted tank. So when I first started this tank, I was heavily into watching a guy on YouTube from the States. His name was Dustin's Fish Tanks.
Oh, geez,
if
man.
anyone has known about that.
Yeah, you're showing your age now, aren't you?
Yeah.
He used to start every episode with "What's up, fish tank people?" or something like that.
That's right. He did, and he's always yelling at people. So I kind of got my inspiration for this tank from him. There's live, everything's live in there. There's no no fake plants, nothing like that. It's all mostly grown from small fragments that I started off with and just kind of kept propagating, cutting it and then just replanting until it was full.
So I'm going to go back to the start video there. So
yeah, talk
about the substrate. I can see you got two layers.
So yes, so this is layered. So the substrate, the first layer is actually garden soil that you can buy from Bunnings. It's just the cheap stuff. What I did was I ran it through a mesh screen just to separate any like large chunks.
So that always confuses me because I've heard Americans talk about buying garden soil mix or potting mix, they call it. And I'm confused all the time whenever I hear that because I'm thinking, are they talking about potting mix? For in Australia, that tends to mean composted pine barks and bark chips.
Yeah.
Or are they talking about soil which to us
So
means
there's, I believe there's a difference between a potting mix and a soil. This was organic as well, so there was no chemicals or anything like that involved with it. I'm assuming that the potting mix it's more for about moisture retention and something that you'd keep it in a pot, you know.
drainage. Usually it's to do with drainage.
Yeah.
And to me, a garden soil tends to be it's an earth. You get past the top layer of mulch, you dig down into the clay or the loam or the sand that's underneath it. When you buy,
it was more earthy than kind of mulchy. That's
Did it have
more like a fine, more like a fine particulate rather than any like large chunks.
Right.
Yeah.
And did it have any particles of sand or soil or mineral that you can see through it?
Well, not really. It was just a very dark kind of soil, really. It just looks like soil.
Okay.
So all I did was run it through, a fine mesh just to sort out any large particles like pine bark or anything like that was in there. There wasn't much. There was some plastics, which I thought was a bit concerning, but I got most of all of that out.
Yeah.
And then I used pool filter sand as a topping to top it all. And I tried to go for at least an inch. So 2 or 3 centimeters of pool sand on top of it. Now the pool sand is inert, so it doesn't add any like minerals or anything like that to the water column. So it was probably good for the plants. You don't want it to be too hard.
Was the basis of the sand to stop the water from clouding up from the soil that's underneath it?
Well, it was really to stop it from floating. Because if you put it in there, it's so fine, the underlayer, it'll just spread throughout the water and just go everywhere. You'd have no clarity at all.
Right. Okay. And did you, we'll get on to additives to the tank, but before you capped the substrate with the sand, did you put any root tabs or anything underneath it, or?
No, I did not use any root tabs. I feel that I never gravel vaxed with these tanks. I feel like the fish waste is enough for the plants to grow, and they seem to be growing quite well. And anything that's kind of in the soil as well, it really was really enough for these plants.
Yeah. Well, there's a comment here from Gil, who also says that the sand also keeps excess nutrients out of the water column.
That's very true. Yeah. It does help with the algae control. You can see on my centerpiece log there that I still do get a bit of algae.
Yep.
But that's about as bad as it ever got. There was never really anything growing on the glass. The plants seem to take up any of the excess nutrients.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, keep talking us through the system. So we'll get on the lighting, because I'm think at the end of this video, I've got a little clip of, you've got some lights up there, which I think looks like
I do.
A bit old school, I think.
They are very old school. They're amazing.
But this was run on what sort of filter?
All right, so this tank is actually run on a sump filter.
Oh, there we go. I'll stop there.
Yeah. So this ran through 3 different chambers in the sump. It was the first one was a filter floss.
Yep.
The second one was a K1 media fluidized.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a bit old school too.
Yeah.
And the third one was BioBricks. Now you can get those from anywhere. There's any type of biomedia, the ceramic kind.
Yeah. Do you think my impression with K1 media is that the concept behind it is that it's meant to be excellent at the conversion of ammonia to less toxic form, and the bacteria get constantly sloughed off because of the movement of the media in the water column, which continually makes the media get repopulated by fresh bacteria, basically. Is there any part that made you think that maybe the plants may have acted or benefited from ammonia more so than using an aggressive biological filter?
They definitely probably could have. I just feel that there was enough of a bioload in the tank to be able to help sustain the growth of them. In fact, I used CO2 in that tank as well. And
I was going to ask that, because you got a sump system, so there's another kind of yin and yang, because you've got CO2 being degassed as the water goes over the overflow.
It does. I had to use a lot of CO2 to even have it registered. But the plants don't lie. They were very, very healthy. What we've got there, that's a super red bristlenose. I added 2 of those, and probably when I shut it down, I pulled out 12. So,
really?
Yeah.
Now, this obviously is slightly earlier days because the plants aren't quite grown in.
That is correct.
One thing I was going to ask you is that it looked like in one of the clips that you were starting to try to grow some glossostigma on the sand.
I did. Yep.
Did it cover out in the end? I'm just trying to fast forward through it.
It carpeted in a small section.
I think
so it was a nice little thick carpet, but unfortunately I had Vallisneria in there.
Yep.
And Vallisneria is a weed, and it just grows like crazy, especially with the conditions that I was giving it. And it took over. It was really invasive. I ended up having to trim it down. It was more like a lawn of Vallisneria.
Yeah, okay. And it looks like, okay, so talk about your fertilizer. You got a lot of red plants there, which from my understanding, red is going to be obtained from high light, high CO2, low nitrogen, high iron, high potassium.
That's right.
What was your fertilizer and regime, and then we'll get on to your lights.
All right, so I was using a 2-part fertilizer. Do I still have it? No. Okay, it was the Flourish, and then there was the Flourish Iron.
Okay.
Yeah. So the iron was to be able to bring out the red in the plants.
Yeah. And was this a daily?
No, it was automatically dosed.
Okay.
So I took a lot of inspiration from the reefing aspect and applied it to this tank.
Yeah.
So automatic dosing. The lights on this tank were actually repurposed reef lights.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I'll find that clip, because I was looking at them going, are they T5s?
They are T5s. That's an ATI sun power unit. It's only 4 foot, and it doesn't reach the ends of the tank. There's a foot on either side. But it definitely provides enough light.
What was the bulb combo you got there? Looks like
Actually, those are just there was 2 grow lights that I got. They were just, I got them off of some online store. I think they were from AliExpress.
yeah.
And then the rest were just regular bulbs for daylight globes that I got from Bunnings.
Oh,
Yep.
like the
So there was an 8 bulb configuration on that one.
yeah, I know the bulbs you're talking about because they were a daylight bulb, yeah. But the funny thing about those bulbs is that the wattage of them, I think the wattage of them, because I remember trying to use them into there was something screwy about the wattage that wouldn't work with some of the wattages from aquarium or reef aquarium fixtures or vice versa. I can't remember. Looks like you got a Fiji pink going across there as well.
There is actually. It's, I've still got about 3 or 4 of them that I've never used. They're sitting there.
Mate, you should have had those up for a competition grab rather than the,
no one uses T5 anymore. It's really hard to find someone who uses it.
Well, anyone out there in the chat, let us know if you're still using T5s. I think the only people I know that probably sells T5 tubes these days in the reef aquarium world is at Reef Secrets with Darren.
That's where I used to get them from too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Excellent. So it's a beautiful tank. I love the red coloration. There was where was the video? It looked like you started with it. We'll talk about the fish because these angelfish are stunning, but it looked like at one stage towards the end there, it looked like they were starting to pick on the wood to lay eggs, and I could only see 2. So I've got some questions about that. So talk us through these angels. Right? These angels aren't everyday angels.
No, these are Pinoy blues. They get a blue coloration to them. They're beautiful fish. Absolutely amazing. Now these 2. They bred for me. They bred for me a couple of times, and their babies are still available. Just not through me.
So did they? Because I can only see in this tank now the 2 which are cleaning the eggs and the substrate there. Did they terrorize the tank?
They did. In fact, they killed the rest of them.
They killed them all.
So, yes. Now they didn't kill them by actually eating them. They terrorized them so much that they jumped.
Wow.
Yeah. So I woke up one morning and I had 4 dead angels on the carpet.
It all happened in one night.
One night.
Wow, I've never heard. That's horrible. I've never heard of it going to that extreme before.
They were relentless. They were picking on them, and it was my fault for not pulling the other ones sooner. I had space for them. I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
You'd think that 6 foot should be enough for a couple of pairs. That's what the idea was.
Yeah.
But they were. Yeah. No, they were just relentless. They chased them until death, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So where are we at now with these angelfish in this tank?
All right. Well, unfortunately, I don't have them anymore. I still own them. But I woke up, I think 2 Mondays ago, to a whole bunch of water on my floor. The tank was half empty. My plumbing had burst, and it had basically dumped the entire tank worth of water out onto the ground. I'm going to have to do a lot of repairs now.
Repairs to the house, you mean?
House, yeah. And unfortunately, I'm renting, so this is going to be very expensive.
What was the damage, Paddy?
Okay, so the floorboards, I'm going to have to replace all the floorboards. They were all wooden floorboards. They're all warped. And there's plaster damage as well. It's crept up the plaster, so I'm going to have to cut that out and do that. It's a good thing though. That's all stuff that I can do personally. So, being where I work, I have access to the materials to do so at a reduced price.
Yeah. Is there such a thing as like tenants insurance or anything like that? I mean, I don't know. I
don't. Well, there is tenants insurance, but I didn't tell them that I had this tank when I moved in.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a bit of a pain, but it's all right. I'm going to probably just build a fish shed instead now and keep it outdoors.
Yeah. So what did you end up doing with the tank and the fish?
Right. So my tank is outside at the moment. It's sitting in my garage, and the fish they're actually at my local fish store.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. This could be a time, because I think it sounds like a time for. Is that appropriate or what? You know the drill. You know the drill.
I'll give a shout out to my local fish room, the fish store. It's called the Fish Room. It's located in Hallam in Victoria.
Right.
They've been fantastic. In fact, I got all of the fish that were in that video from that store.
Let me bring them up. I'll bring them up on screen share just so that we can. No, I can't because there's no tab there. Just bear with me, people.
Senior Ding Dong, the tank was set up for just over 3 years.
What's the name of the store, Pratty?
The Fish Room.
The Fish Room. I've seen some Melbourne aquariums and their livestock on Facebook, and I got to say I'm pretty jealous of the range and the affordability and the prices of no items found. Of stores in Melbourne. It looks
There's some really good ones. There's some really good ones. And while we're doing a shout out, I might as well say, thank you to the Fish World Aquarium. This is where I get all of my marine stuff from. They're fantastic. Absolutely beautiful as well. Really friendly stuff.
This is the Fish Room in Melbourne.
That's correct.
And then you also get your marines from where?
Fish World.
Fish World.
Yeah, so that one's in Dandenong, and the Fish Room is in a place called Hallam.
Right.
The Fish Room is run by a South African fellow by the name of Ewan. Yeah, he's a great guy. Always up for a chat. Spend many hours talking to him about fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a comment here, mate, from Quade. Do you think the piping burst? What was the cause of that gushing of water, mate?
All right. So between those two pipes, it was a junction, and there was an O-ring that completely disintegrated, and essentially just so when that did, the pipes were able to separate. They weren't glued together. It was held in by the pressure of it. My mistake, unfortunately.
There was a union, wasn't there? A nut.
There was, but it wasn't really doing it. There was no thread on the other side. Yeah, it's just what I had. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
It was,
there's another question here for you, mate. I'm just trying to find it. We got some commiserations in the chat for you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Quade's not very happy about seeing that because he's also renting. Senior Ding Dong asks, how long was the tank set up for?
Yeah, the tank was set up for just over 3 years. In those videos, it was probably only set up for about 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the long-term plan? What's the repeat plan? Oh, the fish shed. A fish shed. You're not going to do that again in the house?
No, not in the house. No.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have this one in the house. But yeah, the wife won't allow it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. All right.
Yeah, fish shed. That's where I'm going after this.
All right. Well, since we're doing a shout out, it's my turn to do a shout out. I think he's probably still out there because he hasn't gone to bed yet. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about this man right here. The bearded reefer, the great bearded reefer, because the great bearded reefer just happened to graduate in the world of fish collecting. I feel like a little bit of a lost soul at the moment, Pratty. It's like a master that his apprentice has then surpassed him. There's a Star Wars thing going on there with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke and all the rest of it going on. Because this week, the great bearded reefer managed to catch himself a lovely
wow,
angel. So
that's beautiful.
This is number 3 centropage for the great bearded reefer this season. It started off with a coral beauty. He topped it out with a keyhole, and this week, when he was supposed to be collecting me a nice saddleback butterfly fish, he decided that he should catch himself a bicolor angel. So that's my shout out for this week, mate. The great bearded reefer. Good on you.
Wow.
Mate.
Good. Well done, Gary.
That's it. All right. Now, I don't think we've got any more questions in the chat, but what I think we'll do before we jump on to, should I do it right now or should I? Yes, I think we will. Are you ready? Pratty. That's
yes.
where you say. Pratty, you're employed by Australia's largest hardware chain. What 3 things from Bunnings should every aquarist purchase?
Oh, okay. That is that's a hard question. There's, depending on if you're saltwater or fresh, the answers are different.
Oh. Right.
If you're fresh, potting soil. It's good. It's fantastic. Definitely get it.
Okay.
You want to get yourself some treated pine so you can build yourself some fantastic stands.
Mm-hmm.
And third, there's actually some really affordable floodlighting that you can use for growing plants. So this is the fresh side.
Mm-hmm.
Now we also sell metal halide lighting.
Really? I've been looking for it.
Yes, it is a special order item, but we can get it for you. So head on down to your local Bunnings. I'm sure.
What about if you're a salt keeper?
Well, that metal halide, that's the one, number one. Now all of your plumbing needs, that's we've got that. All your piping. We actually even sell pumps. So if you're on Adam's scale, we've got those pond pumps, so they can pump some serious water. So really, literally, we sell everything. It's crazy the amount. We sell everything.
All right, Pratty, you started your aquatic journey as a diver and a spear fisherman.
Yeah.
What did you learn from those days that has transpired now to keeping a successful aquarium?
I feel that my diving and spearfishing days has kind of affected the way I want to keep it a fish tank, especially the aesthetic of it.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to keep a natural looking tank. Now I'm a bit of a liar there when I say that, because the one that I have left at the moment is not natural looking at all. But I prefer to keep a well-planted tank. I like to see lots of flow in my aquariums.
Yep.
Okay. Including my freshwater ones. I don't like the gentle bubbling of a sponge filter. I want to be doing at least 3 or 4 times the volume of the entire aquarium per hour.
Well, I think that we need to deep dive a little bit into flow in freshwater aquariums, because we've touched on that before the stream yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think we have similar thought processes to that. So maybe after this last question, we might jump just quickly into that. Last question, hard chat. What challenges have come from being a husband and a father whilst at the same time being an aquarium addict? I know, man. They're good questions, aren't they?
That is a good question. It is a good question. It is a hard one. I'm going to have to think about this for a moment.
Sure.
I have a very loving wife. She's awesome, and she allows me to do what I do. With my fish tanks, and she actually loves to sit in there and look at them as well. So I'm glad that I've got her, as a partner.
Yep.
My kids, on the other hand, they couldn't care less. They have nothing to do with it, but hopefully one day, in the future, when they have kids of their own and they want to start a tank, they've got me to rely on, and I can help them. If you excuse me, just one sec.
You're going to pick up your red bug.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. He's taken the hat off. It's gotten serious. I think he dropped his AirPod going on.
I did. I dropped one of these.
I'm still the magic juice. I'm still waiting for my son to get back from the pub. He's out there watching the footy on a public holiday long weekend. He's supposed to be. He's supposed to be. He's supposed to be bringing back my next drink of whiskey, as well as I'm supposed to be showing off my moustache to him. And that's the reason why I did this, because we've got to show these 19-year-olds how to properly grow a moustache. Let's just. Oh, I know, Gary. I know you're out there, mate, dying to go to bed. Don't worry, we're getting onto that blue glow behind Pratty just in a sec. By the way, anybody out there, if you're keen to win yourself one of Pratty's frags, there's 2 available. Put down in I can see a couple of answers there from way back. But if you want to answer correctly, what is the current scientific name of this coral, as well as the previous scientific name of this coral, you will go into the spinning wheel of fortune to win, personally delivered by Pratty himself via the postal service or the delivery service, one of these 2 corals. Pratty, we were touching on freshwater flow, and I think we both had very similar thought processes, and that is that freshwater fish are very adaptive in many cases because they can be subjected to a fair bit of variability from seasons. We also kind of agreed that the filtration and the flow that was from that filtration is very unnatural to them because of the motion within the tank that's produced. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Okay. Well, I believe, from like observation in the wild, that even the most sedate rivers, the water flow in those is just something we can't even replicate in the home aquarium. It's just, so I believe that you need to have a large kind of water flow in your aquariums.
I think we talked about, like, a sponge filter, for example, is kind of doing this because you've got the motion of the air going up, and that brings that kind of cyclical kind of double job motion. Hang on, the back filter does this.
Yep. You get that laminar flow from a river, so it's only one way.
Yeah, and then a canister filter is doing this because it's laminar that way, but it has to hit there and go down and up. So unless
you can't replicate it.
Well, you can, but you have to build a river tank.
Yes, that's a specialized tank. Yeah, not many people would do that, would they?
Well, they would,
but it would look fantastic.
And I think, I think that it's a lot easier than what you think, because as long as the drainage on one side matches the return on the other side, then it's going to be a complete laminar flow. The hard part is, are you going to get dead zones down low if you're dealing with a deeper tank? Because if the water's just shooting across like this, it's just going to go straight over the overflow and down. It needs to sort of go through to pick up the detritus and whatnot. But truly in nature, with the exception of a few fish that would live in a bog or a puddle or a marsh, like maybe a bedder or something, almost all fish are going to be experiencing a one-way laminar flow if they're a freshwater fish. They're from a creek or a river.
I have seen a few videos of like river tanks, especially with Plecostomus.
Pantaray.
So Pantaray? Oh, not exactly sure who it was, but it was overseas.
I think that's Pantaray. Is Pantaray in Germany or?
And the flow rate through those is absolutely phenomenal. That I don't know how they did it. I really have no idea how they had the overflow capable of being able to take water at that rate. It was just amazing.
Well, if you think about it, if you've got enough drains on the other side and the drains have enough capacity, then all you're doing really is matching, well, you slightly got over capacity, so you can throttle those drains so they're not so loud. So you have to be not just matching, you have to have bigger capacity so you can throttle them. I think the real issue is being able, like, okay, I'm going to tell a lie. I'm not going to tell a lie, I'm going to tell a secret. I was thinking about converting my 8 by 4 by 2.5 what is seaway tank to a river tank for Indian barbs after my saltwater fish go outside. But the thing that I'm a bit screwed about it is that it's 4 foot from front to back, which means that, and it's 2.5 foot high. So although I've got the drain capacity for a 40,000 litre an hour return or something, I can't help but feel like the depth of it is going to prevent detritus from being kicked up and into the overflow without getting that gyre. I don't want that gyre. You want that straight laminar flow. If you look at that Panta Ray tank and the other tank, which I saw some comments there, was an aquarium store in Brisbane called Atlas Aquarium. They're really shallow.
Yeah. They're like, very, very shallow. The water's only a couple of inches deep. Yep.
And so naturally the whole body of water is sweeping over. But how do you do a tank which is about 2 foot deep and a one-way unidirectional flow? But it would be absolutely amazing. And that to me is completely natural for those types of freshwater fish. The same could be said for rainbow fish. Yeah. It could be a slower flow. The problem is you're not going to be able to kick the detritus up. So if anybody out there in the comments or the chat has got any idea how to do a one-way laminar freshwater tank and get that detritus lifted up, put down the comments, because I think that would be fascinating. Ross Dingle comments that lots of rivers have swirling currents, fast and slow flow areas. That is
true, Ross.
They do, and often the eddies and the areas on the other side of things like boulders and things is where you get leaf litter and finer sands will separate, etc. Vroomy comments, could you have some sort of downward output? Actually, that's probably one way of doing it, mate. Rather, you know how we think about our returns as coming out just below the water's surface? If the returns went over and then down to the bottom of the tank and then shooted across the bottom, maybe on a slight angle, if you use some conductors or something, that could bring hang on, I'm trying to get the thing that could bring it up like that.
What about a closed circuit? Do you think that would work? We do that a lot in reefing tanks. So it's just a continuous loop. So you could have pipes with a pump.
Yeah.
And essentially just have a pump running from the bottom to the bottom. And it's only just one pipe.
But isn't that what we're talking about doing, except that we're running it through a sump?
I guess so.
Aquarium Domain has a 30-ish foot aquarium. He has all his pumps one end that feed into a wetland filter the opposite end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I guess the main thing is knowing that, we got another answer to and a correct answer. I won't bring up on the screen to your question.
Beautiful.
It's just matching the flow and the drains. Spray bar down low to high, flow higher, twin pumps. Yeah. So I think that's the thing. Rather than trying to spray from high to high, you're going from low to high. Anyway, let's not dwell on this because Gary's getting really tired right now. Now,
all right.
Shall, do you want to turn your camera around and show us your little? Will we call it a nano, or what will we call it? What sort
It
of
is a
tank?
nano. It is a nano. It's actually a Red Sea Max Nano Peninsula. It's only 100 liters.
I'm trying to find the right. Nope.
Let me.
Sorry.
It's all right.
One day I'll get good at this stuff, mate. Anyway, you do what you're going to do. Turn your thing around.
Let me turn my camera around.
Yep. And I'll try and there we go. Here we go. Okay, so describe the tank to start with.
All right. So this is the Red Sea Max Nano Peninsula.
Dimensions?
It's about, I think it's 53 centimeters from front to back, and 43 this way. So
Okay.
not very big at all.
How many liters?
It is 100.
100 liters? All in one?
Yeah. All in one. So there is no sump. It is just all electronics down here.
Yep.
And dosing.
Yep.
Get out of the way, dog.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
So
Now, most people would jump straight into the equipment, but I'm going to jump straight into what's the thought process behind your little tank here, because I don't like equipment, but I love creativity and livestock. So let's talk us through that first.
all right. So the idea of this tank was to kind of downscale from some of my previous tanks to make it a little bit more simple. But keep it at a level that makes it interesting for me as well. I don't want something in a tank that's just going to be a set and forget. I want to be able to interact with it each day. And so that's why I chose this particular tank.
How long have you had it running for, Praddy?
So this one is about 6 months old.
Yep.
It is pretty much from dry. It was 6 months old to the day last week. So everything in here is doing pretty well. I'm not sure if I can zoom in, but my Acropora is doing fantastic.
I think you can. Can you zoom in with your two fingers on the screen, Praddy, or do you have to choose a different camera?
Can you see that? Is that no?
I can see a couple of.
See if I can. Let's see if this does anything.
There we go.
Nope.
Yep. That's close.
Does that send in at all? Okay.
Yep. So you've got a lot of coral close together there, Praddy. Talk us through it.
Well, the idea is that I've only got so much space. My idea was that I have plenty of room for flow on the outsides so that I could get more flow into the tank. Flow is key in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm definitely SBS focused though, so that's probably why.
Yeah, it's funny, you got a fair array. I'd say you got more LPS. So for freshwater guys out there, coral is distinguished only by the hobbyists, not by the scientists, by the size of their
correct.
The size of the polyp, and the size of the polyp can be very subjective, but generally you've got large polyp stony corals, such as the ones we're looking at here, some torches, some micromusa, some, is that I can't tell if that's a hammer down the bottom there or not. You got some that's more. Oh, it's another micromusa.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
then you've got small polyp stony corals, such as the typical, well, that sort of quintessential branching style coral that people think of when they think of a coral reef or the staghorn and whatnot. And when you're starting in a coral tank, this is what you start out with. You start out with pieces, a bit like if you take a little piece off one of your plants and you plant that into the substrate. These are little pieces of corals that they've been glued onto the rockwork. Is that right, Pratty?
That is correct. When I first started, I started with soft corals, more like this one here.
So a little gorgonian?
Actually, that is a gorgonian. It's photosynthetic. I bought it from Anya.
Ah.
That one started off as a little, very, very small frag, and it's grown quite a fair bit, actually. It's growing really quick.
Yeah.
And then another one that I got from Anya, which is this one there, center screen. It's called Turbinaria hironensis.
Yeah.
Or the hero coral. And I picked this one up because of Jake Adams.
Yeah.
Now this one it's endemic to Heron Islands in Queensland. So very unique. The growth pattern on this one is completely different to every other turbinaria. It's just actually pretty crazy compared to the rest.
Do you want to? We've got probably just as many freshwater people watching as saltwater people, Pratty.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk us through, because you keep both fresh and salt?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit on the differences and the different mindset, the different time rate or speed between, let's say, keeping or starting and growing a freshwater planted tank versus a saltwater tank?
Okay.
Because you've probably got a vision in your mind when you look at this tank, but for other people that are unfamiliar, they might just look like coloured bits of stuff stuck on the rock in various places.
They do. My vision is it's going to be a very tightly packed reef on this one. But the idea is that I'm looking at about 2 to 3 years worth of growth before it actually, that actually realizes itself.
Yeah. And that's
whereas like with the freshwater, it doesn't take half as long. It wouldn't take that half as long, I don't think. Realize
you could grow it in 6 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So with freshwater, you can just cut and grow, and it just keeps self-rooting, and within 6 months, you've got an entire full tank. Actually, I think I might have sent you a picture of how that tank actually started off.
The saltwater or freshwater?
The freshwater. I don't think I sent you any of the photos from the salt.
No, you didn't. I don't think I've got a picture of how the angelfish tank started out. No, I don't.
Give me a sec. I'll see if I can send you one very quickly. Can you still see me?
I can, mate. You look confused. Now, there's been let me go through the chat while you're doing that. So there you go. Large pulp stony and small pulp stony corals are categorized by their pulp size and skeletal structure. Absolutely. So you got corals that have a skeleton, stony corals, and corals that don't, soft corals. And then in the stonies, you've got large polyps and small polyps, but that's completely hobby and industry made up. The scientists don't really listen to that at all because there's so much variability and it's a diagonal scale, so to speak. Tans Aquariums asks about what size did these start as. I have it in my head they take a long time to grow. Well, there you go. So Praddy's looking at about a 3-year time frame. And really, yeah, in Australia, we're pretty lucky in a way, because if you want to get wild collected coral, which might be chunks about that big, so about the size of a mandarin, if you want to, you can. But because they come from the wild, they can also have trouble acclimating and die. If you take what's called a frag from a shop or from a store or someone that aquacultures corals, it'll be a little branch like that, and it's glued with super glue down to a little tile or a little ceramic disc. And then once that's settled in, it goes to your aquarium. So there is definitely that view to having a.
But these are frag plugs.
There's a frag plug. Yeah, and usually there's a stem on the underside, so you can put it into a rack of some sort when the people are growing it in their farm or in their store. Do you think, Praddy, that it's interesting that, like, it can take years to really grow in, yeah? Years.
Yeah,
I wonder
years.
I wonder how many hobbyists truly get the result 3 years down the track of what they envisaged when they first started out. I wonder how much is adapting as they go and changing as they go and removing that coral because it was too close to that one and then putting it over there. I wonder how many people accurately grow what they truly started out to grow.
I don't think there's very many. Like my personal view of this is constantly evolving. And coral warfare is something that you really do need to keep in mind. In fact, I've had a couple of corals kill each other already in this tank. So you do need to be mindful of that. It's not just from overshading, but they have sweeper tentacles, which you don't realize they have until it's night time and they send them out and kill their neighbor. So
yeah. So do you want to extrapolate on that a bit, Praddy, for those freshwater keepers out there?
Yeah. Okay. So nearly all corals have a stinging cell within their tentacles. It's called a pneumatocyst, I believe, and it's essentially a little barb that they inject. It's like a jellyfish. They sting anything close by them, so that they can get more space. It really is a struggle for survival.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I had some blastos, which do not have a stinger. Surprisingly, they don't sting anything. I've had them sitting up against everything, and they've never killed anything. But
did they get killed by something else?
They get killed by something else.
I wonder if Praddy Blastomusa tend to. I mean, I haven't grown Blastomusa, so I'm only speaking out of my ass from hearing what other people and what the media says. But Blastomusa prefer lower light, don't they?
They do.
They occur on vertical surfaces and things.
Vertical surfaces or in the shadows.
So maybe there's more real estate. They don't have to compete so strongly.
That's probably why they don't have, that defense system. Like, some of the more competitive corals, I guess.
I got a very intelligent comment from a very intelligent man, Gil's Fish Room, who's obviously starting a saltwater aquarium down there on the Victorian border. How much alkalinity does that consume per day, Praddy?
I'm consuming about 1 DKH per day. So I'm having to dose 10 ml of an alkalinity solution each day.
Okay, and that's pretty substantial for a small volume. So do you want to just explain to the freshwater keepers what that alkalinity or carbonates is, how it gets stripped from the water?
So alkalinity is kind of like a measure of like calcium and all kind of these minerals in the water, from my understanding at least, which are the building blocks to the coral skeletons. But it's not just coral skeletons. It's there's certain algae that are growing in my tank as well that use it up. Snails use it. Anything that has that kind of forms like a hard shell. So I've got quite a lot of stony corals, which are the ones that build skeletons, and they consume quite a fair amount of alkalinity each day.
Yeah. So that alkalinity, that carbonates are being combined with calcium to basically make calcium carbonate, which is coral skeletons. Yeah, and shells and things. Yeah, and also bacterial processes. Gil's got some cracking comments here. How do you handle nutrient swings and export? It sounds like he's been doing his research, doesn't it?
Sounds like it.
He's going to go. You know what's happened? He was watching the Triton one with Julian a couple of weeks. Was that a couple of weeks back? Yes. A couple of weeks
2 weeks ago. Yeah, last week.
He's realised that he can do a no water change saltwater tank.
You can. I haven't done a water change on this tank in 6 months.
There you go. So how do you handle the pollution that comes in such a small water body?
Okay, so let me just swing this around. I'll show you. So I have this, which is a filter roller. So this is like having a if you may have it's like filter floss, and as soon as it gets dirty, it automatically changes. So I can do it manually. And also I have this, which is a protein skimmer.
Okay. So do you want to explain protein skimming to the freshwater folk out there, Praddy?
Yeah, sure. All right, so now protein skimming is the process of have you ever been to the beach after a big storm?
Yes.
And you've got all that foam and gunk all over the beach.
You keep talking, Praddy. I'm gonna share screen to get some protein in the footage up.
What it is basically large proteins in the water which have been aerated to the extent that they form a foam. When you do this in the aquarium, it reduces the amount of nitrates and all of the other kind of how do I explain this? I really should have looked into this.
Well, what? Let me get rid of that. Apologies, I was trying to be fancy.
It's okay.
Well, anything. So it is a particulate filter to a degree. So obviously, small particles are going to get lifted up by the buoyancy of those tiny micro bubbles going through that column of water, and it's also the is it hydrophilic? Is that the term? The dissolved organics, it's hard to describe, isn't it? Because it's not directly removing phosphate, it's not directly removing nitrate, but it's removing the proteins and the fats and things
which kind of break down into it.
Correct.
That's the
So they're
yeah.
attracted to little bubbles. They're lifted up through the water column. Usually the top of the protein skimmer has a narrowing. The foam, which you think about that scum on the beach, collects into a narrower section, and then it gets pushed up by velocity into a collection cup at the top, and you'd go and hit that down the drain.
Yeah. My export system at the moment is actually too efficient. So I'm running into an issue.
Okay.
I'm experiencing an outbreak of something called dinoflagellates.
Okay.
Dinoflagellates are like an ancient life form. They're one of the first forms of life that was actually on Earth. So they just come out of the air. You can't not experience them at some point through your aquarium experience, I guess. But at the moment, so my tank actually at the moment is quite ugly compared to usual. They how do I explain this? They can't do.
Do you want me to jump in?
If you want, they kind of grow in the absence of nitrates and phosphates.
Yep.
So at the moment, my filtering system is too efficient, so I have to turn it off. At the moment, I'm having an outbreak of these dinos. They're just absolutely horrible. They smother corals, they kill fish and invertebrates. The particular one that I'm got at the moment, it's called Australiopsis. And the only way you can find out is by looking at it under a microscope.
Yeah.
Now it looks under a microscope, it looks like a small sesame seed. With a little white tip. They're quite toxic, and the only way to get rid of them is actually through UV sterilization. The dosing of silicates, which help promote another kind of basic life form called diatoms. Diatoms are a form of algae which can outcompete dinos.
So dinos
kind of like
for freshwater people that are used to blue-green algae, cyanobacteria, that kind of in freshwater tanks, it's usually that kind of weird bluey green slime, sometimes a blackish slime, sometimes red in freshwater. Tends to coat the substrate first, and then sometimes can grow on the leaves of slow-growing plants like Anubias and stuff. There's a saltwater version of that, a cyanobacteria, but that's not what Brady's talking about it, but it's very similar in appearance. It's kind of this brown, snotty, slimy, bubbly shit.
It does. It's horrible.
What the hell's that? Sorry, mate. I'm getting distracted here by lack of alcohol.
It's
okay. Tends to grow, tends to just smother, is photosynthetic. So, of course, you're trying to promote coral. You're trying to have coral grow at the same time, unfortunately, growing this snot. And also tends to happen from imbalances of nutrients and things in young tanks. Yeah, that sucks.
So my dino outbreak was caused because my filtration is too efficient.
Yeah.
So I've had to turn it off.
Do you think that the efficiency comes from the protein skimmer or from the filter, the roller mat?
I believe it's from the roller mat.
Yeah, I was hoping you might say that, because I keep on hearing about how effective roller mats are, and I've got to say, I I've started researching the largest roller mats that you can find for reef aquariums, but also for koi ponds and things, to see if I can put one on my big tank, because I do struggle with elevated nutrients, or I shouldn't say nutrients, nitrate and phosphate. And I do hear how effective these roller mats are. So a roller mat, for people, if you think about a papery Chuck's wipe kind of thing on a roll that comes through, it drapes down to another roll, which is the empty spool. The water goes through, it has to pass through that Chuck's wipe kind of filter media. As that filter media gets blocked by the crap, the water level rises up, it hits a little sensor. The sensor goes to a motor that tells the spool on the empty spool to start turning, and that drags fresh filter roll and Chuck's wipe.
Small amount, just enough to allow the water to flow through again.
Yep, and it pulls the dirty stuff up out of the water onto the excess roll out there. Yeah. So it's basically getting the crap out of the water column rather than it degrading.
They're very, very efficient. They're really good. I couldn't recommend them any more to like anyone, including freshwater enthusiasts. I think they have a place in the entire hobby, not just in salt.
I've got some more questions here for you, Pratty. Unfortunately, the Ginger Ninja, this is not whiskey.
What is that crap?
That's red wine. You know why? Because the little hordes of teenagers that came past the background there before were asked to get some whiskey, and they came home with nothing. But questions for you. But I want one question out there. I saw Anya's there. Does anyone out there know what are the largest sized roller mats that are available? Because most of them sit at about 5,000 litres an hour maximum, I think. And
I'm going to tell you, the Red Sea ones are fantastic.
Do you know what the capacity of those are?
Well, they've got several different sizes. I'm using the Nano mat at the moment, and it's fantastic. I used to have I think it was the 500 on an older Reef tank, but I definitely chewed through a lot of the filter rolls.
Yeah, okay.
Probably undersized.
Because I'm looking at trying to filter about 20,000 litres an hour, and I guess I could split
Yeah.
The Reef mat on my last system was a nightmare. Had to remove it for a while to let nutrients build. There you go. Same thing. It took out all.
That's exactly what I'm experiencing, Broomy. Yeah, exactly.
Senior Ding Dong, Senor Ding Dong. I keep on saying that wrong. Never had an issue with dinos when you could get proper live rock.
That is true. This tank here was started on dry rocks. So if I'd gotten some live rock from Anya, it probably wouldn't have been an issue.
Also running a roller mat. So what do we got here? A bit of reefer. Maybe time for a water change, Pratty. Maybe more feeding. More feed.
No, I don't do water changes. Sorry.
No.
I do top-ups. That's about it. And I'm just starting the Triton method too. So that excludes water changes.
It does. When you get a really big roller drum, maybe better than a roller mat. I have been looking at drum filters. There was a talk where we had Julian Sprung and Charles Delbeek on the new improved wrapping with Reef Bum, and they were talking about mechanical filtration, and mostly in public aquaria, and they were talking about sand filters that were being backwashed using fresh water rather than the salt water. If you think about a sand filter, usually you use the pool water to flush it. and that's just wasting salt water. So they were plumbed to flush with fresh water, not being cared about a biological filter. Obviously, they would all die. And they're being replaced not with sand, they were using glass media in there. So I did think about doing something like that for my system, but they're also talking about drum filters. And I've been looking on good old the internet, Alibaba, AliExpress, all those places for koi drum filters, but they're all got stainless steel components in them.
Would you be able to get like agricultural ones?
You mean aquaculture ones?
Yeah, aquaculture.
Maybe. I'll have to look at. Have you heard of Fresh by Design?
Yeah,
they're a really good aquaculture store. I shouldn't say store, supplier. Loads of stuff. I'll have a look on there because they do a lot of that. DIY my own roller mat. Yeah, I don't know. I have seen a few people doing it. I've seen some people using Chuck's wipes too on Facebook. Tanya, so mind-blowing. It scared me back off salt tank. She was kind of a basic. No, you can go basic. You can go very basic.
No, Tens, it's super, super simple. You should do it.
Yeah.
Go with a nice softy tank. Softies are beautiful, and all you need to run is like some activated carbon.
Yeah. And if you can get some live rock from an aquarium store, live rock basically refers to bits of old dead coral that's encrusted by sponges and algae and bacteria from the reef, taken from the rubble zone, harvested under a quota, and then sold for aquascaping purposes through aquarium stores. Went down, popularity dropped away a fair bit because of Marco rock and fake rock and man-made rock and the ability to do all sorts of fancy shapes, but that kind of was at the expense of microbial life. Reef builders or tidal gardens did something about a saltwater drum filter, drum roller. Okay.
I feel like I've listened to a podcast about that.
Yeah, okay.
I think that was back in the Jake Adams days.
Gentlemen, I'm revisiting that at the moment. Gentlemen, had a 150-gallon setup with a sump. Got an ice storm in the Midwest in the USA a decade ago. No generator. Kept the fish warm with blankets. Had my kids rotate, stirring the water. Needless to say, lost everything. Well, that's a shame.
Oh, mate.
Myself and the family.
That's devastating.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, man. I don't know how you feel.
I don't think in Australia we are accustomed at all to the temperature extremes that we hear about when it comes to a blackout from the northern hemisphere.
Especially for the Midwest. No.
Yeah.
I used to live for a time in Tennessee, but it was it's more like Australian weather than the Midwest. No way.
Yeah, okay. Because I hear people over there talk like they're really worrying about blackouts and even down to the like a half an hour or 1 hour of a blackout.
Yeah.
Could be in England as well. And I'm thinking, I don't get it because I can find there's a blackout at midnight. I'll go back to sleep and wake up the next morning and just turn everything back on again. But I think it's to do with temperature.
Yeah. I've experienced a blackout here in Australia. It's killed my entire tank.
Really?
Yeah, it was a 3-day.
3-day.
3-day. And I didn't have a generator. I really wish I did, but I have one now.
Yeah. That's pretty horrible to hear, Simulator. I hope Monday you get back into keeping salt water again. Hang on, where are we? G'day, John. How are you, mate? John Maud's in the chat.
Hey, John.
Stephen Buckland, 492, live rock here in Canada. Is any rock out of a running reef tank? That sucks.
Yeah, that's it's not live rock.
Nah. I hope live rock continues, at least for us in Australia. I'm pretty sure it's available in the Northern Hemisphere. I think it's just very, very expensive, maybe.
Mm.
And live rock here is from the Reef, Anya. Absolutely. Anya, have you heard any really large scale roller mat filters? Can you let me know? All right. So we need to get into your discus.
Yes.
No, we don't. There was something else. There was a question about feeding your coral. Where was it? I think it was, I don't have to, there it is there, Gil's fish room. Do you feed? Gil's on fire. He's really investigating doing a Triton style reef tank down there on the border. Do you feed your corals, Pratty? And while we're
Yeah,
at
I
it,
do actually. Yeah. I feed. Actually, I pulled it out just in case we got asked about it.
you do that whilst I'm looking for the answers to the giveaway.
Alright. Okay, so I've got here. Oh,
Maidenhead Aquatics was the name of the nursery that
yeah.
Ravenclaw is going to take us through. Garden Centre.
Hello, dog. Can I sit down, mate? Okay. Sorry, my dog's come to say hello. So I feed this, which is by Aquaculture Kings, Australian brand from Queensland.
Hang on. Let me remove that and put you. Where are you? Uh-oh. Pratty's gone. Pratty, you there, mate? Just join back in. Senior Ding Dong 969. You are in the running to win one of Pratty's signature coral frags. Despite a slight spelling error. And Ginger Ninja South Africa Quade. Spelling is definitely incorrect, mate. And I know you haven't got an aquarium yet, so I'm probably, is it fair to say that you maybe shouldn't go into the running? Maybe. If you want to fight that, oh, you got that tank at school too. All right, we're going to give that there. Where's Pratty? There he is.
All right. My dog touched my screen. Sorry, mate.
That's all right. You were showing us the foods.
So I feed Coral Saturation by Aquaculture Kings, which is basically amino acids and vitamins. I use Coral Swell, which actually enhances the feeding reaction of corals. So it makes them extend their tentacles ready for feeding. And then I use Aquaforest LPS foods. The small, which is trying to do this one-handed. It's a small pellet.
How often are you feeding the larger polyped corals?
I feed them about twice a week.
Right.
The micromusa, they absolutely love getting fed. Their feeding response is absolutely amazing. The torches and stuff, I don't think it doesn't matter. I don't think they need to be fed at all. I think they get enough just from light.
Okay.
But the Blastos and Micromusa absolutely love feeding. They have an amazing feeding response.
Yeah. There's I've got a mate in town that had a little tank about the same size as yours set up just for a short period of time. It was just a bit of shits and giggles for a while. He didn't have any fish in there, but he had plenty of SPS or aquapora. And but rather than fish, he had some of the the micromucil, like you're talking about, and so he'd feed those basically every day, and that was the solution to keeping that little touch of nitrate and phosphate in the water.
Okay. I reckon they could probably eat every day. They definitely would if I fed them every day, but they don't. I think they need it.
Mate, how I'm just going through the chat. We've got a couple of people that have answered remotely correctly, except for some spelling. How harsh are we going to be on spelling when it comes to choosing people that can go into the
I think if you get it, like remotely correct, I'm happy to add you to the wheel.
Okay. Well, I can say we've got Senor Ding Dong. You want to write these down, mate? Senor Ding Dong.
Just give me a moment. I'll add you to the wheel.
And we've got Quade, the Ginger Ninja. And there was someone else that I can't find. You there still, mate? Don't go to sleep, Pratty.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you went to sleep for a second there, mate. So we got.
Oh, sorry.
We got Senor Ding Dong 969.
Quade.
We got Quade, the Ginger Ninja. But I had a third one, a third person. We've got Raven Core from England, who has answered correctly. So you can pop him in the chat into the Wheel of Fortune if you want, mate. But he did say on there that if he was to win,
I will push you in there, but
maybe
I don't know about shipping to the. I don't think I have clearance to do that. I'll see what I can do.
I don't think you do, but maybe what we can say is that if Raven wins, that he has to take us through a tour of his local aquarium store. Does that sound fair?
Sounds great.
All right. And
I'll put him in now.
And I'll just go through. Guys, if anyone in the chat there has answered, and I'm just – the one reason I look distracted is because I'm trying to make sure that there's no one that has put an answer in that I'm missing. So if it seems like I've missed your answer, can you please just let me know? Because I don't want you to miss out on a signature Pratty 87 coral frag.
I just had to
Brendan Voss.
The cup.
Brendan Voss.
Brendan?
Yeah, Brendan Voss. Oh, and the bearded reefer.
Voss. And the bearded reefer. All right. The bearded reefer, you've already got a frag that's on.
You there, mate? For once, it's not me going to sleep.
Sorry, no. As soon as I close the window to add these names, I'm assuming it just freezes up.
All right, mate. Well, do you want to get your spinning wheel of fortune ready?
Yep.
And we'll shove on a little coral frag there. So there's two little coral frags here, which Pratty's going to post out. There's one rule, and that is if it goes into your aquarium, it has to be known as Nick or Pratty. When you refer to it and you feed it daily every second day with your foods. Go for it, Pratty. The spinning wheel of fortune, mate. Go. Have you frozen? Oh, he's frozen again. I'm assuming right now Pratty's doing.
Sorry, I spun the wheel. It's landed on Quade.
Quade. There you go, mate. We've got one more, mate.
I've got one more to go.
All right, go for it. Now, Quade, I understand that you haven't got your reef tank up and running yet, but there is an aquarium, a saltwater aquarium at the local school. So Quade, I'm sure, will probably pop the coral into the local primary school or high school. Mate, is it primary school or a high school? Anyway, he'll probably pop it into that tank. So that's pretty cool for the kids to see. And number 2 is, mate?
Senor Ding Dong.
Senor Ding Dong 969. So Quade and Senor Ding Dong 969. Do you guys want to? What's Quade saying? Not anymore. What does that mean, mate? Has the tank been pulled down? What does that mean, Quade?
You're welcome.
Quade, tell us if we have to redo the wheel, mate. Yes, you definitely need a CITES permit to send it overseas. That's not going to happen in a hurry. Tank's spawned. All right, mate. You got to do that wheel again.
Mate. All right. I'm removing your name. It's Brendan.
Brendan
the only other person.
There you go. Oh no, there was a bearded reefer too. So Brendan Voss and Senor Ding Dong, mate, do you want them to contact me? Why have you frozen again?
Yeah. They can contact you, or they can contact me on Facebook. Either way.
Okay, so you can look for Nick Pratt on Facebook, but just because, hey, I don't care, you can also email me at adamjones6791@gmail.com. I'll put that down in the comments, and I will get your addresses from you and pass those on to Pratty, who will very generously send out his 2 corals to you. So there's my email address in the chat. And, well, hey, just for shits and giggles, I'll give you my phone number too. So you can text me your address and I can pass those on to Pratty. Thanks, mate.
Hey, you're very welcome, guys. Yeah, there'll be more coming up.
Beautiful. All right. Now, Pratty, it's time for another segment. Where's my segment?
That when I'm dealing with much smaller goldfish.
Pratty, quick this is a series of quick questions and quick answers. Your first question is, if you could only have one tank, would it be saltwater or freshwater?
Fresh.
Ooh, I like it. Pratty, in that tank, which you were allowed, would you... I'll start again. I'm trying to be fast and snappy here. In that tank,
okay.
Only one species of plant and one species of fish. What would those species be?
It'd definitely be some form of rotala. I like the reds. So, yeah, red. Rotala red. And for the fish species, most likely it would be... I'm on a nano kick at the moment. I like small fish. So I'll probably... some form of dwarf cichlid.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, dwarf cichlids.
Are we talking south?
Maybe epistogrammas. Epistogramma. I think. Maybe Agassizi.
All right, Pratty. What has reef keeping taught you about failure that other hobbies can't?
Failure is inevitable. You just have to move on. Yeah,
right.
It really is.
That when I'm dealing with much smaller goldfish.
And that was quick dips. Pratty, you've also had a discus aquarium, mate. Let's have a look at that.
Yep.
Now, this is a series of photographs. I'll just pause it and I'll go back. So this is obviously a very, very heavily planted aquarium. Do you want to just run through?
Yep.
Do you want to run through
all of my freshwater tanks have been heavily planted. I believe that the plants kind of help with the filtration.
Yep.
So
what was this? You had. I'll keep playing this. You got a bunch of discus in here.
Yeah. So these discus, I raised them from fry, so they were very small. Raised them up. Even though the tank kind of looks very docile, there's quite a lot of flow in there. I believe with all of my freshwater tanks that you need to have a bit, like a fair amount of flow. There was about 3 to 4 times the tank volume going through them.
Okay. What size tank? Because you got, I think. Well, I can see at least 3 colors of
this tank. Yep. This tank was a 4-footer standard. So I believe it was 4 foot long, 2 foot from front to back, and 2 foot tall.
Okay. How many discus?
There's 7 discus, I think.
7.
We have 7 discus. They like to be in close they like to be with each other. They're a schooling species.
Yep.
And you tend to have less issues if you keep more of them together.
Okay.
But this one here, I've got a pigeon blood and the snow white, I believe. Now they were my main breeding pair.
So had you taken this pair of discus out of your display into a breeding tank here, Praddy?
Yes. In fact, that breeding tank was part of the sump.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I took out some baffles. You can see the there's a line in the center of the screen.
Yep.
Where there used to be an additional baffle.
Mm-hmm.
And that became the breeding section of the tank.
Okay.
Now I didn't want to change the water parameters for the eggs. That's the reason why I put them in there.
I'll go back to the eggs. I'll just go back to the that's a ceramic breeding cone, is it? You got standing there?
Yes. Yeah, that's it. By that time, I believe they'd already hatched. Whatever was left was probably the fry that was still on the cone, and the rest would have been a free swimming.
I thought what we're looking at there is the actual eggs, but that's
no. They've already hatched at that stage. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll keep playing because you got some footage of the fry on the side of the discus parents. Do you want to talk people through what happens with discus as parents? Yeah.
Well, discus are actually one of my absolute favorites for freshwater fish. They're amazing parents. They look after them until they're quite natural. They get little fish. They're great. They feed their fry, the babies, off of the slime off of their own bodies. So feeding them from an early age is actually quite easy. You don't have to worry too much about feeding them until they get to a size where they can actually eat baby brine shrimp.
At what age?
Which you'd have to hatch every day to be able to feed them.
Okay.
That's the babies. The fry, feeding off of the mother there. That's actually the female.
Okay. I don't know. Is my cursor working on this?
That's what's called a pigeon blood. She was amazing. She produced so many babies. It's crazy.
Praddy, Because I've never kept discus.
I don't see it. But they're right above her eye.
There,
Yeah.
I can see 3 fry there. Is that? Can you see my cursor on the screen, Pratty? Maybe not.
That is 3 fry. Yep.
Yeah.
They're feeding off of her mucus.
Does at what stage of development or what size of the fry do the babies go from being safe from being safe from the parent to being a food source to the parent? Like at what stage?
Okay. That is a good question. All right. So by the time that they become a food source from the parents, they're probably already too big for them to actually fit in their mouth.
Oh, really?
From my experience, at least, my ones have always been fantastic parents.
So you could raise them the entire time with the parents. They would never be eaten.
Yes. They would probably be killed, but probably not eaten. You know, like they get too big.
Okay.
They're not really a food source at that stage. They're already like a small discus. They look like a discus.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So they get past the size of those cardinal tetras before they become before they become like a food or a
at risk of predation.
The parents, yeah, that's right.
Questions for you, Pratty. What Seeing a Ding Dong asks, what temperature did you keep your discus at? And he's gone, which is a bit of a hot topic because from what I understand, the temperature that discus like to be kept at doesn't always relate to the temperature of tank mates and plants. So it'd be interesting to see what Pratty kept those temperatures at. And Pratty is back.
Sorry, there we go. Sorry,
there you go.
I pressed the wrong button.
What temperature did you keep your discus at, Pratty?
Temperature I kept them at was about 28 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. It's funny because here's another question from Gil, which is exactly something I was thinking, and that is, what temperature? Because does it affect the choice of plants?
It definitely did. There was a lot of plants that would melt.
And Tanya's thinking the same.
Yep. So a lot of the plants, it was kind of like trial and error with my discus tank. A lot of them would melt, so I kind of struggled with Rotala.
Okay.
But I did keep it in there. I could not keep floaters for a very long time. The red root floaters and stuff like that, which I use for nutrient export, they died almost instantly. They just couldn't keep up with the heat.
Wow. Okay. Did you have any experience with
trips?
So I was gonna ask if you had any experience with mosses and things like Java fern melting.
I didn't keep anything like Java moss or Java fern with my discus. I'm assuming it probably wouldn't be able to survive.
Yeah.
But my trips did really well. They grew like crazy.
There was I remember hearing and seeing some footage and some dialogue from Jeff Sensky. Have you heard of the Sensky brothers over on Aquarium Design Group in Texas?
I have heard of them. I'm not familiar.
They're really worth looking up. Very artistic and sensible men, fish keepers, aquarists. And Jeff sort of had a bit of a recipe for discus planted aquariums, and it basically revolved all around using, I know it sounds kind of obvious, but Amazon swords.
Yeah. I did keep Amazon swords with them, and they would flower every year. They were a great plant. I love them.
Yeah. I think part of the problem in Australia is that we get limited by the amount of plant variety that's available to us. So we think of Amazon swords and we think about these giant things that are going to grow out of the tank and flower everywhere and be kind of a bit, a bit too beefy. But I think they might have a lot of access to a lot of smaller and mid-size swords. Obviously, there's chain swords for the foreground. But yeah, that was his answer to the sort of recipe for discus planted tanks.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to have a look into it because I will definitely be setting it up within the next month or two. I just got to build a new shed. Fingers crossed.
What have we got here? I won't go discus, but I think I'll need to build another tank to have a planted freshwater tank. See, we are gradually starting to expand the horizons of other fish keepers, and I love that.
Definitely do it, Quade. You definitely should. It's just so worth it.
Yeah, I love the way that you said that if you only had one tank, you'd choose a freshwater tank. Why is that? Why is that? Say, why is that?
I think that it comes to my initial fascination with fish. It all started with, swimming in the creeks as a child. And, corals are great and all. And, the saltwater fish are beautiful. But there's something about the freshwater species that are just different. There's a tranquility to it that I just find really calming. I really enjoy just looking at it. It brings my stress levels down a lot.
Yeah. Whereas I can't help but feel like when you look at a lot of saltwater aquariums, particularly that kind of more collectoritis style blue heavy saltwater aquarium, that it's the that it's the opposite of calming. It's very kind of,
oh, I've got so much stress going on with this one.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't believe how much stress I've been going through this week trying to get it ready for you guys to see.
Yeah, I got to say to everybody out there, Praddy's been a trooper, because Praddy didn't realise he was coming on tonight until I basically made a thumbnail up and said, "Hey, Praddy, guess what? You're our guest on Sunday night." So, and at the same time, he's had the incident with his angelfish tank, and then he's also had the dinos with the saltwater tank. So he's being a trooper. Stephen Buckland 492 asks about any suggestions in regards to pH, general hardness and alkalinity for your discus.
For my discus, I do not chase parameters for my discus.
Okay.
Now, my discus are far from wild. So they're not like the Ultim Angels or anything like that. You don't need to chase parameters with them. They were raised in water that was similar to what I'm raising them in.
Do you know when you're using town water, Praddy, for your discus?
No, I'm not using town water. I'm using RODI. So my TDS in that tank is very, very low.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a huge RODI unit, which I use for my tank, for my reef tank, as well as my discus.
Yeah.
So yeah, the it's essentially just over filtered water. There's nothing in it. It's just water.
So in essence, that means that the hardness, excuse me, both carbonate and general is going to be 0, and
Essentially.
the pH is probably going to be 7.
Yeah. The only thing that would be affecting it is the substrate and the driftwood that's in the tank.
Okay. So it could be getting down to 6.5 or something.
Yeah.
6.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's slightly acidic.
So in comparison, mate, do you chase parameters in your saltwater tank?
No, I don't. What I do is I chase consistency. So I think that is a general theme with both of my tanks is to chase, just trying to keep it stable. Stability is key.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to I've got a little tank which I'm setting up, and who was I telling? Was I telling Quaid or was I telling Bit of Reefer about this? And I was listening to a podcast, Australian podcast, and it was about the concept of how there was an agreement that a larger saltwater tank to get started is easier.
Definitely easier.
Because the larger volume is more stable. There's less capacity for salinity to drift, for temperature to drift, for the hardness and the minerals to drift. Takes longer for the pollution to build up. And I was thinking about it with this little tank, Pratty, and I was thinking, I reckon that there's a really easy way to do it that involves one bit of kit, and that is just an automatic water changer. And to hook up, I've got a little tank which is a bit smaller than yours, but to hook that up to automatic water changer and a 1,000-litre IBC sitting out the side of the garage somewhere and do daily water changes.
Well, then it becomes a 1,000-litre tank, doesn't it?
No, because it's water changes. It's not running in the same system. You know what I mean?
I think that would be great. It's an amazing idea, and I'd love to see the results of it too.
Well, I'm really curious as to how, what I want to find out is that can you do that? Because an automatic water change system, Anya, if you're out there, put some thoughts in the comments. Because an automatic water change system for saltwater usually runs around 1% to 2% of the volume each day. But I'm wondering if you up the volume, let's say 10% a day, there must be a threshold level where you don't have to dose alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, trace elements, and you don't have to worry about the buildup of pollution, nitrate, phosphate. There's a threshold level. There's a certain point of water change where you don't have to worry about any of that. All you have to do is program that water change to happen every day. And I think if that volume is not too dramatically high, then having a little 70-litre tank running like that has got to be the easiest way to get stuck into salt water compared to a 4-foot or 5-foot reef.
I think that would be a good way to get started, because at least it would keep it stable. Stability, stability is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you're doing 10 to 20% of water changes each day, you wouldn't have to worry about dosing, nothing like that. It just simplifies everything.
Yeah. And I was obviously the idea is to try and find out what is the least you have to do, but that will change as corals grow and consumption builds up, or consumption increases and waste increases, so it'll have to be adjusted. But if it's, let's say it's 10% and I've got a 70-litre tank sitting there, that's only 7 litres a day. 7 litres, I've got a 1,000-litre IBC, which can fit down the side of anyone's average house. That would, 7 litres, we're talking months and months and months of it being like, of doing nothing.
It would, I think it'd be incredibly easy, especially if you're living by the coast, when you can fill it up by yourself.
Yeah. But you've got access. I mean, obviously in Melbourne and Sydney and Brizzy, there's plenty of people that will deliver you natural salt water to your house.
I have used, and I still do use natural seawater. It is great. I don't think anything there's anything wrong with it. Yeah. I just don't like the idea of being able to introduce unknown pathogens into the system. It's the only reason I don't use it on this tank.
Okay. All right. Senor Ding Dong says, doesn't monsoon cans still dose? And they have a huge water turnover, huge demand too, though. I'm not sure about their cans facility. I think their Bundaberg facility is, I don't think it's a flow through. I think they have access to pumping natural salt water, but I don't think it's a constant flow through. I think they can do big, massive water changes if they have to. But their demand would be huge, wouldn't it, with all the corals they're growing?
They've got more coral than water.
Yeah. So it's obviously balancing that. Well, that's what, here we go. Vroomy, balancing nutrients with your uptake of alk. Anya, here we go. I don't think water changes can compensate for consumption rates at any time. Hypothetically, the 10% daily change is diluting the dilution.
Oh, very good thought.
I don't understand.
I understand. That's good. No, definitely. No. Okay, so you've got a diluted solution, yeah, and then you're just adding more to it. So it's just diluting it until it's...
Well, no, hang on a minute. Let's say you're aiming for natural sea levels of alkalinity, which is 7.8.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And your alkalinity drops to 7.5 in the course of a day. But you introduce enough 7.8 seawater. Oh, no, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was about to say you introduce enough 7.8.
It's just like adding salt water to bring your levels back up. It doesn't make sense.
the only way to do it would be to eventually increase the salinity.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure there's a way of doing it. Just I'm not smart enough to do it.
You know the way you'd do it? You'd spike the alkalinity in your IBC.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's higher. It has to be higher. Yeah. Yeah. It's like actually I think I was listening to the Reef Therapy podcast about they were taking water out of the tank and adding talclosser. And so what they were doing was they were adding fresh water so that they could increase the amount of talclosser that they could add each day, because they had already exceeded the amount that they were taking out through evaporation.
Yeah.
So
Vroomy said you'd have to dose the water change tank, which is what we said. You have to spike the water change tank make it higher in the values of alkalinity calcium, whatever. Anya says, so if your calcium's 420, you get some consumption from growth, your calcium drops. Then you change 10% of that with the right level. So it's not going to be lower than 420 because you're dealing it with the same, you're dealing it with the correct amount of calcium, but it's not going to get back to 420 ever unless you put so much in that your salinity becomes 1.035 or something. Is that
Right.
I think there you go. So now you're dosing the IBC instead of the tank. Yeah, that's true. So it's like, well, what's the point if you're dosing something else? Spike the alk in your ATO. Bingo, hence the need to dose. I wonder at what point it would happen, and I wonder at how much. You're getting more whiskey, aren't you, you bugger?
I am.
And I'm drinking crappy red wine still.
Oh, mate. I feel for you. I'm actually cracking into the where is that? Oh, wrong way.
Jamison's, lovely.
The Jamisons. You inspired me. The Japanese ones have been fantastic, but I'm going to give it a switch.
All right, so I'm just reading through the comments here, mate. So Anya said, yep, that's the go. So hence the need you need to dose. It looks like you're either dosing the water change vat or you're dosing the tank or you're dosing the ATO. You're still dosing regardless. Vroomy says what Julian told me is just plumb the 1,000 litres to the tiny tank. But that's not the point. The point is to try and make this something that is somewhat attractive and easily obtainable for someone that just wants to have a small tank in their living room. And a bit of RO tubing through the wall is nothing. You know, you can run. Yeah.
One sec. I'll be right back. I'll get some RO tubing. Show.
I wonder, seeing your ding dong, the water change fallacy so ingrained doesn't stand up. I wonder how much it would stand up if you choose your livestock carefully. If you were to only go with soft coral and anemones, for example, and stay clear of macro algae because of the demand for trace elements, and stay clear of stony corals or small polyp stonies. I wonder if you could get away with it. I wonder, Pratty, if you could get away with it if you just did softies, anemones, stay clear of macro algae because of the demand for trace, iron, manganese, and stay clear of SPS. I wonder if you could get away with it for an awfully long time with some large polyp stonies as well. Because in reality,
large polyp stonies, they're surprisingly quick growing.
Yeah, okay.
Some of them are, but there are others that aren't. So you have like, your Scullies and what are the Desh? Those ones are extremely kind of slow, or elegance corals. They're kind of slow growing on as well. So they won't be consuming your elements out of the water so quick, but
Anya says, if a beginner keeps only softies, the water change may suffice with something like marine buffer in your RODI.
Yeah. I agree.
You know what though? I think it's worth the experiment, because I wonder if, like, let's face it, the marine aquarium is smaller than the freshwater aquarium hobby by far.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we think about from someone like we think about the mindset of people that are really passionate about aquariums. So if you've got someone like, let's say, Anya here, who is passionate about corals and reef tanks, well, she's not the equivalent of a goldfish keeper or someone who's got a few platies in their bedroom. She's the saltwater equivalent of someone that's into their aquascaped planted tanks. And if you talk about the freshwater hobby, I would imagine a lot of the bulk of the freshwater hobby is not that extreme. They've got a few in their bedroom. They've got a few guppies. They might have an axolotl bottle. They might have a goldfish. They might have a betta in a thing on their desk. That's part of the hobby. And I don't think we should ignore that that's still a beneficial part of the hobby. So rather than thinking that everyone that gets into saltwater has to go crackers into it and have amazing growth and all the rest of it, if they've got healthy corals that even aren't all that growing, if they're a Desh or elegance, some softies, whatever, or even just a couple of clowns with an anemone, that's still a way of building the saltwater hobby, is it not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They don't have to jump straight into this awesome looking colourful reef, even if it's in a small box. They can have just something like the equivalent of a betta, a couple of clowns, or a mandarin, or whatever it might be.
You should have seen my first saltwater tank. You should have seen it. It was nothing like this. This I'm quite proud of, even though it's a Windex tank. But my first saltwater tank was the softies and lionfish, and it was nothing to be compared to this. It was a Gebo all-in-one system with a trickle filter, which you don't seem to see anymore. I don't understand why, but they're a fantastic filter.
I think it's because the days of they were kind of linked in a way, even though that they weren't necessarily, there were commercial run-ins of it. They were linked to the DIY stage, I think, in a way.
Trickle filters are just amazing. It's just, they're great. You get the oxygenation. But
in a world where saltwater, I hear about stats over in America where the average reef or marine hobbyist lasts 18 months before selling up and getting it. And they've got a much bigger world than us. Even if this little idea is enough to keep a very basic tank for longer than 18 months, and the point might come where they decide to then jump in for longevity with something a bit more established or fancy or whatever, I think that's a win. I'm really curious to find out how far you can get with it. I think it might be worth giving it a go. I do. Although seeing a ding dong comments that Coraline's going to consume alkalinity as well.
That is very true, Senior Ding Dong. I believe the Coraline in my tank over the year is a major contributor to the consumption of alkalinity.
Yeah. We got demands. Anya, have you got any comments on what is the lifespan of hobbyists in Australia? Because I'd be curious. I have noticed there's a few complete tank setups for sale on Marketplace and often placed there in the city like Melbourne or Sydney where I can't go to. But I'll be curious to know if, from a fish store point of view, if you get many hobbyists that come back to you and say they're tearing their tank down, or do you want to buy back my livestock, or can you sell my setup for me, or whatever it might be. Do you ever see that up there in Brizzy? Mate, I'm going to ask, she's not thought about it, 4 to 6 years? Go, mate.
Sorry. Go ahead. Ask me a question.
There you go. Anya hasn't thought about more like 4 to 6 years. There you go. I've got a question for you, and I'm going to ask this of every guest until I get my tank set up, because this is about my tank. You're a saltwater hobbyist and a freshwater hobbyist, and I've been throwing up ideas about what to do with my 8x4 by 2.5 tank once I move the saltwater fish out of it. What would you do with that?
I'm devastated. I'll put rainbow fish in it, man.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. I would put rainbow fish in it.
And
As soon as you said you're moving your turtles and your rainbow fish out of the outdoor one, I was like, no, you have to move them indoors.
Well, I'm gonna get in the springtime some checkered rainbows as tiny juveniles from Dave Wilson from Aquagreen, and the reason I'm going to do it in the springtime is so I can put them in an outdoor pond and grow them up when the weather's warmer. And because I was talking to Dave about what size rainbow is the largest in Australia. And I thought it was a trifasciata. I thought it would have been a goiter or Caddo River or whatever. And he was saying, no, it's the checkers. It's the checkers. He reckons
checkers is pretty big.
They're the size of your hand, like
the body.
That.
Yeah.
And because I've still got some rainbows in my tank with the Saratoga, but the numbers dramatically dropped. But they dropped at one time and one time only, and that's when I went to Tasmania and I didn't get my daughter to feed the Saratoga cockroaches because I didn't think I didn't ask her to feed cockroaches to the fish. And so I thought, I won't ask her to feed the fish at all. It's only for 10 days. It'll be fine. And it was fine. Basically snacked on most of the rainbow fish, which, I can't fault it for that. But the rainbow fish and the gudgeons that have been there after that trip, which was in February, I think, are still there.
Yeah.
So it's it's interesting. Predatory fish aren't aggressive. They're just satisfying their need at the time.
They are. But rainbow fish, the Australian natives that we have here in Australia, they're just so beautiful and they're fulfilling for me, at least. I don't know, have you ever been out to the promised lands up near around Coffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the rivers around there and you have a look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, they're so good.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I think a lot of the time the rainbow fish in Australia get overlooked because of the bulky coloration of the New Guinea ones, like the turquoise, the neons, the salmon reds, the bozemanni, and a lot of the Australian ones can look kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look at the whole Splendida complex, and then even the group of trifasciatas and the Australis, they kind of look kind of similar, and so they kind of get a little bit overlooked. But I'm pretty keen to get those checkers in with the Saratoga. But so I'm not going to put rainbow fish in that tank.
Okay. All right. I'll let you do what you want to do. But if it was me, definitely rainbow fish. I love rainbows. I cannot get enough of them.
Yeah.
And even though the tanks that I've kept in the past, they haven't reflected that. I absolutely love what we have here in Australia. We have some amazing fish.
Yeah.
And being an ANGFA member, actually, I'm looking forward to the next time I get to go out and do a survey. Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Have you? Do you go? Is there active ANGFA Victoria meetings on down there?
There is. Yeah. We've got one coming up in a week or two. So
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's one
yeah,
thing. I'm hoping that last year there was a northern New South Wales angler auction that was up at Grafton, and that was really cool. But it's not something I don't think it hasn't been on this year. It would be about this time of year because there's no sort of sub branch. Or they were trying to start a sub branch in Northern Rivers up here, but I'm not quite sure if it's active or not. But I was hoping to go there and buy some larger rainbows, like some big goiters or something, to put in the tank rather than having to wait for the. I've asked Dave if he can send down some big fish, but Dave Wilson. But he's reluctant to send down the big ones because he feels like they tend to always. There you go, send your ding dong. The Mary River checkers. He's reluctant because they don't tend to survive the transport in his experience. Yeah. Whereas he reckons he can pack, shitloads of tiny ones into a bag quite happily. Few thoughts. I feel some of the problem with people leaving the hobby is when they get their first tank. The shop they went to overcomplicates it for them, and the person gets overwhelmed and quits.
The Shadow Man, I understand that. There are a few, there are shops that do that, and they're the ones that don't seem to last though. If you have a good local fish store, they tend to help you throughout your entire your journey when it comes to your fish tank. They want to keep you keep you fish keeping for as long as they can.
Do you think also that let's face it, not only are we aquarium addicts, I can't help but feel like myself and many of us might be ever so slightly on the excited spectrum, and that sometimes when we find someone new, I've never worked in an aquarium store, but I do get people that come to my place and it's like, oh, they're new, they were interested in fish, and you sort of go blah, and you're sort of really talking about this and talking about that, and because you're trying to help so much, and I feel like that's just overwhelming for many people when all you were trying to do is. I wonder if they're a fish shop.
All you're doing is sharing your love. You're sharing your love, and it comes as overbearing sometimes, but definitely, I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Anya comments that's the biggest gripe: the newcomers being overwhelmed or being led astray down the wrong path. Something fails and they just give up.
Oh, don't give up. Please don't give up.
Got
it's such a rewarding hobby.
Yeah. There's a funny thing. I talked to a few old bastards around town at the local produce store or the fertilizer shop and whatever it might be, and a lot of old farmers, and they've been into hobbies like pigeon racing and canary
pigeon racing.
Yeah. Wow. And breeding canaries, and a lot of it just seems that it's not just our hobby, but a lot of hobbies are, especially the ones that are based around animals, seem to be dropping away a bit. Like they're. I know I used to be part of the Avicultural Society, Bird Society. I was part of the Reptile Society or Herpetological Societies back in Sydney and Wollongong and whatnot. They were mostly old. were mostly older men.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's kind of what it happens here with the aquarium hobby. It's about 19% women. The
Yeah.
rest is just men in
Yep.
our 40s.
Yep.
So,
And
yeah,
not the age of the kids that we keep at home.
no. Well, I believe that they will eventually join us, our kids, but they're just not showing the interest at the moment. That's the way I say it.
You know, my kids, I was absolutely obsessed with animals when I was a kid. I used to research the crap, and I used to be stressing and worrying so much about asking my mum for a goldfish or an axolotl or a frog or whatever it was
Yeah.
back in the day. I was so scared. She usually said no because it was we had a step family, and it was, 5 kids. It was, struggling and all the rest of it. And I kind of always thought it's just kind of weird that my daughter, who walked past just then, and my sons, they just don't really have that same passion in pets like I did. I expected that they would. But then what I've realized is that it doesn't matter, because they've all got empathy towards animals. So
Yeah.
they'll all stop and pull a snake off the road, or I remember one time my son, who's a burly 20, almost 21-year-old, working on cranes and stuff now, only like a year and a half, he'd probably hate if I said this, but only about a year and a half ago, he called me in tears because he'd been learning to drive a manual car 2 years ago. So, and he was out with his friend at the local industrial area driving a manual car.
Yeah.
Hit a rabbit.
Yep.
And
I think I know what you're talking about too.
he was just, the rabbit hadn't died, and he was absolutely distraught because he hit a rabbit. And so I had to talk him through the way that he might euthanize that rabbit. And I know it's a rabbit. I know it's a feral animal. But my point is, he doesn't have interest in keeping pets, but he does have empathy for animals. And I think that just comes from exposure. So that's what I hope.
I hope he becomes a future aquarist just like you, man. I really do.
Ravencore from the United Kingdom says that approximately 75 to 80% of saltwater and reef aquarium hobbyists leave within the first 1 to 2 years. And only about 20 to 25% of beginners sustain.
I believe that. I believe that because they come across an issue like I'm going through right now with this tank, and they quit.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that everything is part of the process. You really need to stick with it and persevere. Perseverance and stability is key to this hobby. You need to strive to keep everything in equilibrium.
Well, I think there's a few challenges that come from saltwater that tend to hit a little bit harder. And like you're saying, you've got those let's call it the scungies. You've got your dinos, it might be cyano, it might be hair algae, whatever. You've also got aptasia going out of control in some people's tanks. And you've also got probably white spot or parasitic disease.
White spot. Yep.
And so if you've got one of those things, or God forsake, maybe two of those things, the crane driver just walked past then. That's enough. That could be enough. If you're someone that just wants to have a lovely little Nemo tank, or a few nice corals and a couple of chromas, that could be enough just to say, no, this is just too hard. It's already cost me $3,000. Blow this.
Yeah. The saltwater aquarium industry is not cheap. It is not cheap. And I cannot stress that enough. Like, getting into it is going to cost you a lot of money. Yeah. Even if you do DIY, it's still going to cost.
Yeah.
But it is totally worth it.
So
Totally worth it.
the Ginger Ninja says that social media creates an unreal expectation from seeing Instagram reefs and TikTok tanks where they're sponsored by, I guess, sponsored by brands.
Yes. Quade. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes, they definitely do. You see those Instagram perfect reefs. You're not going to have that. But when you do, it is so worth it. So worth it.
Here you go. Now here's a comment from Tanya that I feel like is relevant to both saltwater and freshwater. And it's something I was thinking about before, and that is just to find someone that you resonate with. And rather than listening to the bulk of people, just listen to that trusted person and just try and follow through their process.
That's right. Yeah, don't listen to everyone. Find someone and just follow their advice. Don't try and follow 20 different people.
Yeah. All right. One last comment from Senor Ding Dong. Tanya, I think the American scene dies I influence a lot and doesn't always match other locations. Does influence a lot and doesn't always match other locations. So I guess what that means is that a lot of the Instagram, the flash reef stuff comes from America maybe, and that drives demand and popularity and all the rest of it. BTA tanks can be lower maintenance for saltwater. Bubble tip anemones?
Yes, bubble tip. Yep, bubble tips. Super easy. Actually, I've got one out in my garage at the moment. Anyone wants it?
Why didn't we see that?
Well, it's out in my garage. I want to go outside. It's like 8 degrees out there.
Yeah. All right. I can't keep a bubble tip.
Oh, bubble tips is super easy, man. Super easy. It's as long as you keep your nutrients up.
Yeah. Okay. I brought home one of Gary's red bubble tip anemones, and I thought I'll just try and see if it can fend off some butterfly fish. And I put it into the tank, and it came down, and it I sort of pushed it down, into an appropriate spot. It literally took my hand away, and the butterfly fish came in, shredded it, gone within seconds.
No.
Absolutely shredded. Yeah. All right, mate. Now, if anybody in the chat has got further questions for Pratty, now's the time to pop them down in the chat. I will remind, who do we have? We had Brendan Voss and we had Senor Ding Dong. I'll just stick my phone number again in the chat. I'll probably regret this from some sort of spam calls from India or the Philippines. But there's my phone number, so you can send me a text message with your addresses, and I'll pass those on to Pratty for your Micro Musa Lord Howensis frags. But Pratty, it's time for
white milk.
Pratty, a previous guest has left a question for you without knowing who you are. And that question is, now I'm going to read it out so I get it accurate. If two tanks look equally beautiful, but one relies heavily on technology while the other on natural balance, is one a greater accomplishment than the other? And if one of those tanks is a greater accomplishment, Which one?
In my opinion, I think the one that would rely on the natural side of things is the greater accomplishment, because it's not on you, it is on what nature decides.
Hmm.
I know I've tried so many times to make things work in a tank, and it hasn't. And it's just really up to the way you natural succession is what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And in it can God, I can't even think. It really when you let nature decide an aquarium, that is way better than if you try to do it yourself.
I think that might be part of the reason why you and I both resonate with I talked about observation yesterday with you in regards to freshwater aquariums, because the observation in freshwater for me is getting in close and seeing those little processes of decay and fungi and botanicals and twigs and tannin water and breeding behavior and microorganisms and all that sort of stuff. So that's basically talking about biology.
Yeah.
Natural circumstances. I agree with you, Pratty. I agree with you. All right,
you should have seen the amount of stuff that came out of my tank when I was shutting it down.
Oh, from the freshwater tank. The freshwater tank.
Freshwater tank.
Yeah.
The worms, the scuds, the everything, the microorganisms. I don't think I would have had to have fed my tank for months.
You know, speaking about microorganisms, I've been trying to get there's a business in Australia that breeds insects as pets.
Okay.
But they also do them for education, and they do displays and things as well. But I've been trying to get them. I've sent some message away. I still haven't heard back, but I think it'd be awesome to get them on to speak specifically about aquatic insects as a display pet for aquariums. So something completely sidelined. I've got my.
That is actually a very, very interesting topic, though. There's
talk about nano.
So much involved. Like, just imagine the micro predators that are out there.
Yeah, there's. Think about. I remember seeing water scorpions as a.
Yes.
Cool. And
yes. Or the dragonfly larvae. Or that's what I was asking about with Wilson. Oh, what is his last first name? Daniel. From Dave Wilson.
Yep.
From up NT. I was fascinated with what was actually in the water. The micro predators, the microfauna that was within his planted plant aquariums, essentially.
Well, Gil's hit the nail on the head here. I thought about this idea a few weeks back when I was looking at the water container in my python cage, which is just in my undercover carport area. It's got heat hides but access to sunlight and stuff. And in that water container, I found 2 water boatmen with the little,
I know.
Because the snake's kind of gone to sleep, I thought, I won't change the water out. I'll just I'll let these boatmen do their thing. And I'm looking at them. Wouldn't it be awesome to have like a little gooseneck light and a nice little sort of almost like an oversized vase kind of thing that you could set up with some floating plants and have some little aquatic insects or a water scorpion in there. Anyway, so I'm hoping to try and get those guys on. I'm hoping because I think that'd be fascinating. But everybody,
so
Pratty, thank you very much. Oh, hang on, Jack Spencer. Have you had any problems with swim bladder issues in Discus?
No, I've never had any issues with swim bladder issues like this. I think that may be because I make my own food.
Right.
I tend to
So is the issue food rots in their intestine if they can't process it?
it may be.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
All right. Well, we might need to research that a bit more. I'll see if I can find something out for you, Jack Spencer, and I might stick something.
I've never had any issues, but I've always done my own food.
So when you're making your own Discus food, what was the ingredients of the Discus food you were making?
All right. So the food that I made was essentially a marinara mix from Coles or Woolies.
Yeah.
So mussels, prawns, a little bit of spirulina. Nothing that you wouldn't expect to find in regular food, really.
Okay.
Prawns, mussels, clams, whatever you could find. It's this and like salmon.
Have you had any experience or reading about Discus in the wild consuming a lot more fruit than what was previously thought? So traditionally back in the day, I remember beef heart was like the German food for Discus, pretty much high in protein. But then I was reading somewhere not that long ago about that there was potentially a lot more fruit being consumed, I guess fallen fruit, rotting fruit, whatever, by Discus in the wild than what was thought previously.
I haven't read anything about it, but I did think that it was kind of necessary to include. There was certain kind of came across it from the saltwater perspective was to include a lot of algae or greens within the diet of fish. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Senor Ding Dong remembers blending beef heart for piranha when he was a kid, frozen in ice cubes. Jeez. Now I know it's getting on, Pratty, but we'll make this the last question of the night from Ravencore, who's going to give us a tour of a Maidenhead Aquatics store to the best of his ability in England. Thank you very much, Ravencore. I'll be in touch shortly. Gill's Fish Room. Where's my one gone? I don't know where it's gone. What tip would you give to a younger self knowing what you know now, mate?
Do not give up.
Do not give up.
Do not give up. You have the hard times in the hobby. There are hard things that you come across, but it is totally worth it in the long run.
Cool. All right, mate. So to everyone, thank you very much for joining us tonight. To Pratty there, thank you very much for being with us this evening as well.
Yeah.
Next week, if anyone's got any questions, if they're watching this on replay from YouTube, pop them down into the comment section of YouTube and I will either do my best to answer them myself, or if I can't answer them, I'll reach out to Pratty and we'll get the answers for you. So don't be scared about doing that. To Brendan Voss and Senor Ding Dong, don't forget to send me a text message or a email if you wish with your address, or you can reach out to Pratty directly on his Facebook via Messenger. It's Nick Pratt on Facebook. And he will very generously send you out your micro musa. Next week's live stream, we've got a guest, Sean Grubb, who is into his larger fish. He's pretty much into a lot of larger native fish, but he's also in touch with other fish such as peacock bass, stingrays, that kind of thing. So he's got a few interesting things going on. I personally haven't visited his place, so I'm pretty keen to see what his tanks look like myself. So if you're into your bigger fish, we shall see you next Sunday. And everyone out there, thanks for being with us. Thanks very much, Pratty.
Oh, you're welcome. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, mate. Stay there. And everyone out there, we'll see you next Sunday. Good night. And I believe we are done.